Big round of applause for Erkan. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, hello. Jill, I'm going to give these to you when we're ready to hand those out. Right, so we've got to move fast, so if I leave you behind a bit, don't worry, because you can watch this later on video. But I want to fit in as much as I can in the half hour, 25 minutes I've got, okay? All right, so again, as Jill said, this series is called Collaboration Expanded. In other words, how can we start to capitalise on the relationships, on the foundations, on the understanding to benefit us and the community at large? It's a good idea, isn't it, Terry? I just noticed you're here. No, I'm joking. But I haven't even said hello. Hello. So, belief, I put here belief, limiting or liberating, because Jill asked me to put that, but what I really was thinking was otherwise. In the world of coaching and personal development, one of the things that I've heard for 3 decades, probably longer, no, 4 decades, well, 3.5 decades, is limiting beliefs. Who here has heard limiting beliefs? How many times, right? So that was the title I was given, and I thought, well, I can't just do my normal limiting beliefs talk, because probably most of you have heard it in one guise or another. And although there's nothing new under the sun, there's always something new for you individually, but you're only going to hear it if you look for it. Because if we match our existing understanding on top of what comes, we always make it fit. Well, I knew that. Who here are the know-it-alls? Well, I am, so I imagine there's a few of you out there, right? So I wanted to surprise myself with this as well, because a challenging belief, a challenging belief is a test of faith for me. Who here has had loss of faith in periods of their lives, where you just the path disappeared and you're in the jungle? You've been in the jungle, haven't you, Ian?
Yeah.
A few times. And you're trying to climb out. What gets you out of the jungle? What gets you out of that turmoil, out of that confusion? Well, this is Ricky on it.
I think religion's greatest trick wasn't convincing some people that there was a God who was all-powerful. It was convincing everyone else that you couldn't ridicule that idea. It's when you get them. I think there'd be more atheists and less faithful if you weren't allowed to teach anything, you weren't allowed to mention any gods or any beliefs or atheism, right, until they were 20. I think we'd see a different pattern. The human brain, when it's young, is a sponge. It has to be. It has to take in all the information. It has to trust its parents, its elders, to survive. Without question, don't touch the fire. Why not? Don't go near the wolf. Don't touch that spider with a red bit. Don't touch that. Why not? Just don't. There is a God. What? There is a God. And if you're bad, you go to hell. Okay? And if that's constantly confirmed, like all the other things, wolves eat you, black widows kill you, fires burn you, if it's given that same level of credence and truth, you're never going to get over it. It's going to be a lot harder to undo that. I think the myths came up, maybe, often as a stopgap to knowledge until we find out more. The earth is flat. No, we've proved now. Okay, the earth's not flat. We were wrong. Okay. But that's not personal. You don't take that personally. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your afterlife. And so they often want to hold on to that, right? But only because of the way they've been conditioned. We know it's fun to tell children there's a Santa Claus, and there's fairies at the bottom of the garden, and all these cute things. It's cute till they're 7 or 8. If they're 34, it's a bit embarrassing socially. If you're born in India, you're probably a Hindu. If you're born in America, you're probably a Christian. If you're born in Pakistan, you're probably a Muslim. That's a coincidence, isn't it? That you're always born into the right God. Always. Isn't that lucky? I was born into the right God. All those others are going to hell. But I was born into the right religion. I'm going to heaven. It's strange that we hold on to these sort of medieval beliefs. I think it's very important you challenge your own beliefs. I mean that's what science does, really.
So that, I think, for me represents kind of a traditional view of beliefs. Who noticed that you were having opinions and thoughts about what you were saying?
I was having opinions about the spellings.
Oh, well, I didn't write those. If I'd wrote them, they're probably worse. So you noticed how you're filtering the information and you're reacting to it and you're doing something with it. What do you think you're doing to it as it's coming to you? What were you doing with that?
Judging it based on our own beliefs.
Yeah, so are you religious? So you were like, yeah, you tell them, Ricky, go for it. Science. No? I got it totally wrong?
Not really.
What? Okay, so what do you think's there before? What was there for you? Who else wants to share?
You're assimilating it, so you've got your own mental model of the world. You get someone say something, and you're continually thinking, does that fit into what I believe? Is it in a different box? Should I make a different box for it? Just forget about it.
So dismiss it, maybe assimilate it, maybe park it for later, but there's this process going on. There's this process going on, and we're looking at something, and this is all inside the context of collaborating. Because when we meet people, we will start working out, who's this person? What does she look like? What's she about? I don't know anything about her. Where's her name tag? Oh, that's her name. That's an interesting name. Blah, 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 blah. Who remembers like the Terminator films where it's and it's all happening at an amazing pace. So this wasn't about religion. This is about the process of our beliefs get instilled. I was saying about we're saying, I believe this or I believe that. And I feel in this community, we have some really strongly held, positive, great ideals and beliefs and culture and values. And I've been really banking on that as being important. And I looked up the word belief, as I usually do, because I think I know what words mean, and then I look them up and I go, I didn't quite work that one out. But there was something about an acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof, and it put his belief in extraterrestrial life. And I went, but there are aliens. They are. They exist. I believe they do. I don't believe they do. I know they do, in my experience. Who here thinks aliens exist? Yeah? Yeah? Who thinks there's some in the room?
There's still a belief as such.
You met Tyler, my oldest daughter. Anyway, so a religious conviction, trust, faith or confidence in someone or something. Now I've always thought of belief as something like, if me and Andrew were stuck up a mountain and the snow was coming, the blizzard, I'd say I believe we can get down. Like, I want to have belief and faith in that, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. Just have a belief that that may happen. But how do we engage with information?
Belief, though.
Is it? Well, I'm just saying that's how I think of it. What do you think that is? Determination? Commitment? For you, what is it?
Trust. Trust in ability of self, as opposed to a belief. A belief to me is a higher... I'm saying it's up there, but
It's interesting, though, right?
Yeah.
See, that happened automatically. That's really interesting. And we're going to test some of that as I go along. So everybody's familiar with this, as in collaborators, because we talk about be, do, have. Are you familiar with this model? You've seen this before? Have you seen it before, Chris? Yeah? Okay. So we use this model a lot in B collaboration. It's the B of B collaboration, the context of being and who we're being. So, there's this idea that we've been practicing within B collaboration, and people have seen this model elsewhere, is that if you project your being into the world, it's going to affect your actions. If you go to work thinking, oh, I'm going to have a bad day today, it's going to give you a certain experience of the day. Or you get caught in the circumstances, and the circumstances win over you. The circumstances are now shaping you in relation to your reality. Or your reality is being influenced by who you're being. And that will shape, influence, manipulate, affect, have all that effect on the actions you take. Who here sometimes wakes up and has a massively productive day? Who here has non-productive days, right? So the circumstances are pretty similar, but yet sometimes we're productive, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we say the right thing and get a great result. Sometimes we say the same thing again and we get a different result. What are the differences? What's been affecting that? And then that will produce our results. So we'll have some result, we'll get a deal, we'll get a girlfriend, we'll get a client, or get to do the things we want to do, and those results will manifest in terms of being. What we don't generally talk about is this part of it. Is the filter that's there prior to the engagement with reality. So I'm going to identify that as a lens or filters, assumptions or opinions. Have I spelled opinions right?
Yeah.
I thought it looks like onions, opinions, right? So the lens is all. So one way you might want to think of the lens is literally a lens of your glasses. They've been on so long that they're now shaping your view without even knowing there's a lens there. Like you already know how someone's going to react or say something to you by who they are. What is informing that?
Previous experience.
Yeah. So you've got all that previous experience that tells you, so it's a filter, a lens, that you know, blah, 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 blah.
Probably not. I think the lens should be to the left.
The left of that? Yeah, well it isn't right now. That's an opinion.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see how this model is giving us access to how those maybe unconscious, unthought of, unexamined assumptions or filters are shaping our experience of the world, and we don't even know they're there. Okay, so we could describe that in this format. So let's take away the actions and the results. Let's just really work on this lens. So the lens is giving me my view of the world, and for the most part, for most human beings, that lens is unexamined. I'm talking about where it's unexamined for you, where you'll knee-jerk, you'll have a response, you'll have a thought about something, and it's already there before you've even worked out what you actually think. It could be a reaction, it could be a response, it could be who's ever gone somewhere and you were just turned off? Something just made you go, ugh. How many people have come to BCon that said to us, I don't know what it was, but it was just something about BCon. The energy, the space. And it doesn't mean we're always aware of these things. So you could distinguish that as what you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. Now we've heard these pejoratives before. And that's the filter kicking in. Who here has heard you don't know that you don't know? Who's even heard Donald Rumsfeld say it, right? Yeah, so every time I've said this, people go, oh, the thing that Donald Rumsfeld said, but no one understood. But the power of that you don't know isn't the cognitive understanding of that you don't know, is catching yourself in something that you didn't know about yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And really, even when we create context, I would assert there are lenses or filters shaping us even though we say we're something. And they're there before we're even there. They're there. You wake up and you wake up into them. They're there. And for the most part, they're probably quite familiar but undistinguished. That's really powerful. There's something all encompassing, all influencing, all shaping us as individuals, and for the most part we're blind to them. No matter how enlightened and how much work we've done. How long have I got? 15? Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm going to pass a handout out, and this is my invitation, collaborators. Guests, please play along if you want. I want you to be as authentic as you dare get with this exercise and see what comes up for you. Right? So the exercise is going to be, if you notice on this sheet, there's a list of numbers, and I'm going to show you a series of pictures, 7 pictures. And what I'm inviting you to do is record your first instant thought when you see the image. Right? The first instant thought. And no matter how embarrassing it is for you, record it. Now, you don't have to share it, but record it. Okay? Then Jill's going to give us a 5-second, and notice what you notice at 5 seconds, and then a 10-second, and then whatever else you notice as we go through the exercise for each image.
We're meant to stare at it.
Yeah, just look at it. Just going to be a picture, right? Nothing. It's not going to hypnotic or anything like that. Right. Okay, you ready? Does everyone understand the exercise? So image comes up. What's your instant? How do you cognitively, or how do you filter that image and write that down? You know what you mean by that one word, so don't get like describing it. Just write down what emotive or experience or your understanding of what I'm going to show you, and then give yourself 5 seconds and see what you come up with, 10 seconds and see what may come up later, okay? All right, image 1. Julie, doing the timing?
5. 10. Just 2.
That's right. Okay. Image 2.
5. 10.
Okay, image 3 coming up.
5. 10.
4 coming up.
5. 10.
5.
5. 10.
6.
5. 10.
And image 7 is multi-pictures, but I think you'll get the point.
5. 10.
5. Okay. We don't have a lot of time. Okay, what did you notice about the way those images occurred to you? Anything surprise you?
Develops, doesn't it?
Mm.
Although it's actually quite long, 10 seconds is actually quite a long period of time for you to process the content of the picture, but also how it fits together.
So how would you say your first initial response to images was for you?
Factual.
Factual? In what way? Oh, what you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the Israel flag. Oh, that's BBC. So like literally, boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, not for you?
No, mine's visual first, and then factual second.
So how did some of those images occur to you?
Sure.
How did some of those images occur to you? How would you describe them?
Number 1, explosion, universe, stuck in the middle, flag, eccentric. Those kind of things. Those were the first impressions, and you want to kind of more 9/11, EU, South Africa government, thinking very much more. Yeah, I don't know. It's almost there are symbols. They represent something. They become symbolic after a while, after 5 to 10 seconds.
And did you have a view of those things?
Yeah, that's when it came from 10 seconds. That's when you start having opinions and things like frustration, bureaucracy, yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Anyone else? What did you notice, Paige?
Stories attached.
Did your stories come up immediately, or did they, like Nick's experience, they kind of evolved as you got more?
I just more let the visual just sit there and seeing what about an entirety that's there, and there's so much information to try and then just succinctly put something in 10 or 5 seconds. So it's more capture just the essence, but in that initial, you know, to put it in one word is quite challenging.
Yeah, I think I found that.
Because it's so expansive, because, you know, for example, 9/11 just tragic. That's like that immediate response to the word that came through. So again, I tried to take that approach to each.
Thank you, Chris. Did you?
Yeah, you know, it was like I say, some more factual. Like for us, the fire of the 9/11, terrorism, death loss. That's the evolved. So we've got a factual one. But what made me laugh was the BBC. My 10 seconds was only fools and horses.
Oh, God bless you.
That was like really, you know, where does that come from?
Can you see how fast, how fast we are? You know, your brain uses a lot more processing power with eyesight than it does with listening. In fact, you can see something and it can take you a lot longer to process it than hearing it because of the processing required. But that aside, the point is we're having a reaction and it's almost our filters are shaping what we experience with all those images. If we sat down and looked at them for long enough, we'd all have different views and we'd start noticing how maybe more and more polarised we are or where we're aligned, and the whole thing starts to show up what we think and what our attitudes are and what our views are about some of these things. And I could have picked 1,000 different images, obviously. So think about it when you go from the macro, say to these world events and, if you like, celebrities and major, country flags, to actually the micro, our own personal experience of walking into a room. Today you walked into a room of people, I assume you don't know anybody here. I don't know. No. And that would have had a certain experience. That would have given you a certain understanding of what's going on here. But ultimately, you're the one that's processing that experience. Your experience of Andrew's collaboration piece, the know and be known. Who had opinions about the know and be known? Yeah? Liked it, didn't like it, brilliant. We'd have all had different views about the know and be known. So none of us would have got David as David Liddell. We would have got a view of David Liddell by our own biases and our own beliefs, maybe. Especially if he said something quite controversial like, was it, you shouldn't be fat or something like that? I think that's a good one. Start off, oh, you fat people. And I'm like, meeting new people. How do you filter new people? Are new people an asset? Are they something to be challenged? Are they people you've got to impress? How are you around new people? White people. How are you? Well, most of you are white in this room, but me and oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about your age. Black people, other people, men, women, how we react and how we... I saw a woman bus driver the other day and I noticed that my first impression was, what's a woman doing driving a bus?
What is wrong with you?
Nothing, that's just my initial reaction. It's just I saw a woman driving a bus and it stuck out. I was like, oh, what's a woman driving a bus? And I heard myself say, like, the initial immediate response was that.
No, your initial.
Mine, I'm talking about mine.
You said yours. Say mine.
Men, women, other genders. I'm just saying other genders because apparently more than men and women now. I can't go into that. What about the professions? So if we're going to collaborate and we're going to engage with each other and we want to make the most of each other's skills, having a nuanced understanding of the other professions or the other skill sets in this community and our appreciation for what they bring is going to really help us expand those collaborations. The trades. Who's got an opinion about the trades? Me, can't stand them right now because they're bloody useless, right? But that's my personal experience, right? That's a whole different... Money. What about money? And then finally I put sex, but don't look at me like that.
Well, most people judge about money, don't they?
Yeah.
They are either judging or they're feeling judged.
Well, what you said was quite telling about people not telling you the whole thing because maybe they're embarrassed about their money situation. Yeah.
There's very few people who
Yeah.
talk to people
About
something that's that sensitive without judging them.
And there's a whole myriad network of conversations that are built within our culture, within our own personal lives, with our own personal past, our personal experiences, our age. I bet you there'd be, if we brought in a load of millennials, they'd have a different view about money, a different view about a lot of these things. Okay. So I want you to, I want to move away from belief. How long have I got? Oh, I'm blowing it. I got a 9-minute video and then I'm done. So I want to bring you, So I want to bring you to something a bit more about thinking. Now this went on for, this is when you look up think, this is what you get. There's like loads of it. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to touch on all of that. Anyway, I want to introduce you guys to a guy called Osho.
It is true in the beginning. Doubt helps your intelligence, sharpens it. Questioning makes you aware of many possibilities of which you may not have been aware before. But this is only the beginning of the journey. At the end, when all your questions have disappeared, and the real master never gives you the answer. Let me repeat it. The real master never gives you the answer, so you cannot doubt it. He brings you to a point where all your questions disappear. His answers are murderous, killing your questions, destroying them mercilessly, to bring you to a point where there is no question in your consciousness, and the master does not give you any answer that you can doubt. This non-questioning consciousness is the answer, and it is your experience. You cannot doubt it. It is there. And from this point, silence and intelligence are just two aspects of the same thing. From this point, not knowing, innocence, and knowing are two aspects of the same thing. This is the mysterious world which is available to you if you can pass the jungle of questions and doubts and reach into the clear, where there are no questions and no doubts, no answers either. Just you are, with utter silence, with immense clarity, with tremendous sharpness. That's why I am against belief, because it will never allow you to reach to this stage. It will stop you in the very beginning of the journey. It will not help to make you more intelligent. It will make you more unintelligent. It will make you more fanatic, superstitious. But it will not allow you to come into the clarity which can be called the very goal of what transpires between master and the disciple. The moment of total silence, the moment where everything is crystal clear. But it has to be earned. Belief is cheap. This will bring you something totally different, what I call trust in existence. In the dictionaries, trust and belief and faith are all synonymous, but not in reality. Belief is opposite to trust. You believe because you have doubt. The belief is an antidote to doubt. It is a need to cover up the doubt. Trust when you don't have any doubt. So trust is not a belief. Belief is always in something, in some doctrine, in some principle, in some philosophy. Trust is in the totality of the cosmos. It has nothing to do with books, holy Bibles, Gitas, Qurans. No. Then there is only one scripture, which is spread all around you, in the trees, in the rivers, in the ocean, in the stars. And you don't have to read it. You have to be just silent, and it starts showering on you all its wisdom, which is eternal. I am against belief because I want you to come to the point of trust.
Land. So I guess the lessons of that is kill beliefs, destroy assumptions to the point where there are no questions, silence and intelligence, not knowing and knowing, just you, utter silence in the midst of sharpness. And I think the quote I like right then is, I'm against belief because I want you to come to a point of trust. That's my genius slot, or expanded slot for today. Thank you, everyone.